Good morning, guys. As you can probably tell, the skies are really gray. It is only supposed to get a high of 80 degrees today, and it's supposed to have lots of thunderstorms. So I'm taking advantage of not thunderstorms at the moment, and I decided to get into the garden while it's not too hot and continue pulling out the summer garden, just dead stuff. And so I've already done quite a few things off camera, like we've been cutting down the sunflower seeds of the sunflowers to save the seeds. We've been cutting them down and leaving the roots in the ground, and then saving the seed heads, because when I came out here today, I saw that 2 of my sunflowers had already been bitten, I guess by a squirrel who can climb up this trellis right here. I'll show you right now. So those 2 sunflowers have completely, this one and the one over there, have been chewed halfway, and all of the proof is on the ground that something was over here munching, and I'm definitely assuming by it being bite marks that it was a squirrel. So if you guys remember, I planted sunflowers at the side of each of my trellis beds, and then I planted some pro-cut sunflowers as well as the sunflowers from Sunflower Steve. And so what I'm just doing is going to each side of the bed that has the mammoth sunflowers, cutting off the heads, leaving the roots in the ground, and then we're bringing all of this debris over to my chickens. So this is what I was talking about. This bed had pro-cut sunflower seeds, sunflowers in it, as well as that bed, and I just went through and used my garden shears and cut the base, and then we'll take all of these, cut the heads off, let them dry, and then we'll save seeds from it and then plant them next year and see what we get. They are a F1 hybrid pro-cut sunflower seeds, or they are a hybrid. I shouldn't say F1. They are a hybrid, and so saving the seeds, you're not guaranteed to get the same colors and varieties that you got this year, but I am interested to see what I get next year, and so that's why I'm going to be saving the sunflower seeds from them and trying to plant them next year.
So the sunflower heads that were bitten, I am breaking them down, and then my daughter Nehemiah is going to bring them to our goats to eat.
So I just pulled down these 2. You can see how most of these, when you wipe away that most of the seeds are black, whereas this one, if you wipe away, let's see, you can probably still see that most of the seeds are still white. That's because this one has already been drying long enough. I am going to, this actually, it does have some ones that are lighter in color. The longer you let the sunflower dry, meaning being dry on the back, the sunflower seeds are more mature. But I don't want the squirrels to eat all of my sunflowers that I've let grow this season, and so that's why I'm taking them down, and then I'm just gonna leave them upside down like this to dry off in the house, and hopefully we get some good sunflowers. I don't know, I didn't look it up if whether or not you can, save sunflowers from that are not fully mature and let them mature in the house, but I'm gonna try it and see. I've actually watched a video where someone ate the whole sunflower, like they grilled it down like that, had some butter on it, some mayonnaise, and they literally ate the whole thing. I don't think I would do that, but I mean, in the video they made it look good. If you guys know what I'm talking about, comment down below if you've seen that before. It was definitely interesting. It's so interesting as I'm wiping away some of these petals. Some of these seeds have more of a burgundy hint to it, which is very interesting to me. I see lots of bugs crawling in there.
Before starting this project, I did go ahead and purchase some gloves for the girls and I, because I do have some gloves, but I don't know where they're at the moment. I usually don't like wearing gloves, but I also don't like touching wet things, so I definitely went in and bought some spur of the moment.
So I wanted to take a second and show you guys the plant that I was telling you that came in my compost and what it looks like when it's green. It's super pokey. I know some people had said, it looked like lemon cucumber, but I planted lemon cucumber one time in the past and I don't remember it looking watermelony and then turning yellow. And I have more starts over there, and the leaves don't look like this. They look like regular cucumber leaves. So yeah. Then someone said that maybe it might have been crossed with the lemon cucumber. So yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to show you guys that because I was pulling it out and I thought they were all just yellow, and so I didn't have anything to show, but just found one.
I was so happy to be getting this cleaned up and getting the space, reclaiming the space. But that weed that I've been talking about is so thick. I had the hardest trouble pulling it out. It grew way better than all of my watermelons that I planted, all of my cantaloupes that I've planted. Like, it was just thick. When I finally got to the roots, it looked like a tree was planted there. That's how thick the roots were. But I am so glad to finally pull it out and get it out of the garden. It was taking over. I was also so very grateful to have the gloves on while I was pulling this plant because the stem along the stem is so pokey that it was just unbelievable yesterday when I was trying to pull it out of the bed that I couldn't really handle it. So today I was definitely glad to get those gloves on and not touch not only wetness but pokey spikes.
Guys, you can actually see the pathway. I am so happy about that. My daughters have ditched me, so I'm gonna go find them and ask them to load up these 2 wheelbarrows of plant debris, because I have the one right there and then the one inside of that garden bed. It feels so good to take back the garden from the weeds. That weed that I told you came inside the compost literally was the majority of the things growing on that side. It completely took over my strawberry bed. I had planted 350 strawberries and it choked out all but like maybe 20 of my strawberry plants. I was just like not really paying attention and just glancing. There's a goat out. And just glancing over there, and I realized that, oh, is she free? No, she's behind the gate. I thought she was free. But I had just glanced over at the strawberry bed, and I just saw green, so I thought all the strawberries were growing. And when I got closer, it was just that, that weed had taken over the whole bed and was disguising itself. So all I saw was green, not realizing that it was just the weed.
This bed was actually the only bed that I had trouble pulling out the weeds with my gloves on. The weeds just kept slipping right through my gloves. I don't know if it was because they were too short and I couldn't get a good grip on it, but all the other beds when I tried to pull out weeds were fine, but these definitely left the roots down in there, so I'm pretty sure the weeds will be coming back. But they've been coming back in the other beds where I think I've gotten all the roots anyway, so we'll see. I don't know if I'll use this bed to replant my second wave of tomatoes just because there's a whole row of marigolds in front. And I thought about planting the tomatoes on the opposite side than the back side because the sun comes from the back end. But I'm worried that they might not get enough sun or get big enough to get enough sun because the sun does go over the garden. So it starts at the back and then goes over the top and then towards the front, and the marigolds will be casting a shadow on those tomatoes. So I have to think about that. I am just pruning those tomatoes because they are falling all over the place, and I am taking off the ripe tomatoes as well as the green tomatoes and deciding which plants I want to leave. Nehemiah is taking off the rest of the green tomatoes for me and putting them in a bucket, and I'm just continuing pruning, just trying to decide which tomato plants I want to leave, which are healthy enough to leave, because I do have another wave of tomatoes that I've planted, and I also have some suckers that I have rooted in soil, and so I can definitely replace majority of my tomatoes in the garden.
So I was just working on this trellis right here that had tomatoes, and I did leave maybe 2 or 3 tomatoes in here, but I did trim them back a lot. So I have this whole container full of tomatoes. There are some ripe ones, well, down in there. But most of them are green tomatoes that I just pulled off of the plants because they were hanging over or they were diseased. And so I just kind of left like the healthy ones on there and then kind of just pruned them back heavily. I will eventually come in here and probably take out 2 more and just leave this one right here. This tomato right here has been doing the best. It's still pretty healthy, but I did trim it back a lot, and so a lot of the tomatoes came from there. I left this one just because it had lots of top green growth, but I do want to take out these 2, and then I left this one even though the bottom looks dead. This top right here is really lush and green, and I was thinking about saving some suckers and maybe I'm just not sure, so I left them, and it did have some green tomatoes that could start to ripen. These delphinium, I believe that's the name, I got this one, that one, and this echinacea plant. There was another echinacea plant, I don't know what happened to it, on clearance for maybe $2 or something, $1, $2, $3, and they looked completely dead, and they basically took over this whole bed, which is fine by me because it looks lovely, and I wanted this to be a perennial flower bed. I did plant lots of lily bulbs in here, so hopefully they will spread next season, and this whole front half would be filled with beautiful flowers. Okay, well, I think that's it. I think I'm going to call it and go inside. It's about 11 o'clock now. I don't know how long I've been out here, but I am tired, so I'm not going to overdo it. So that already looks better. I know we worked on this bed yesterday, but that pathway right there, this whole bed was cleared out. There's lots of ground cherries that fell in there. We pulled out all of this. This is a hollyhock, so it's staying, but all of this was cantaloupes. We pulled all that foliage out. And then in this bed, my dwarf okra fell over last night. We had a really bad rainstorm, thunderstorm, and so they all fell over, but I didn't take them out. But you can actually see in there and in here, in this bed. So I'm just really happy. Oh, I left an orange tomato right there. Oh no, it wasn't good. But we just need to move this debris right here. Maybe put it inside that container. My girls will come get it. They've already taken the 2 piles. So overall, the garden cleanup is coming together. Lots of empty beds to prepare for fall gardening. Trellises are empty. I just realized I forgot some sunflowers right here. And there's actually a melon. This is the Kajari melon right here. It still has some flowers forming. I have not been able to taste the Kajari melon. There's one down there, but it looks mushy. And there's one there and there. Actually, there's 2 there. I've gotten maybe 4 Kajari melons, but they've all been mushy and broken into, and so I haven't gotten any melons off of that, but I'm going to continue to leave it, and hopefully the 4 or the 3 that we see will ripen, and I'll get to taste Kajari melon. A view from the front, you can definitely tell, especially up in this area, that we've been working and getting the garden cleaned out. Trellises are all empty for the most part, and it's just looking really good. I'm really encouraged by all of you guys commenting and just knowing that we're all in this together. We're all gardening. It's all hard. Everyone's had hard weather this year, whether it was too dry or too wet. People struggle with soil and compost. So I know just seeing the comments and encouraging each other to keep growing, and it can get overwhelming, especially this time. It's mid-August, school starting back, and so that's exactly what I'm going to go in and do, is focus on getting my school curriculum all finalized. I think today's Friday, so definitely, and I want to plan on starting school on Monday, so definitely want to finalize all of that. I do want to eat lunch. I don't know what I'm going to make, maybe a sandwich. Oh, actually, I did start a pot of beans before I came out here, so maybe I'll have some beans. Maybe I'll make cornbread with it. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.